Good morning. If we can all take our seats and we can get this organ and poetry started. Welcome back for the second week of Lenten Poetry in Oregon this week and next week. Speaking of next week, when you come, you will not be in here. We are going to be having it in the chapel. So there'll be a sign pointing to the door as to how to come into the chapel. But that will be a different, unique setting, so I look forward to that. We just are a little busy in here next week with the National Symphony Orchestra coming, so we want to have our own space. Today, I welcome Miss Pat Drapier as our poet, and Andrew Galuska back as our organist. And I'm just going to turn this back over to Sean, and he will elaborate on our poet today.
So welcome to you all. I'm delighted to see you have decided to come. You've ruled in favor of poetry today. What a triumph. Look at John and Richard. My goodness, I told John his middle name should be Phoenix. So I have a few things. I want to call your attention to, we're having a poetry and barbecue of our literary foundation, and I have cards at my side, down at my seat, and I want you to come get one and think about coming to our poetry and barbecue. That's completely extracurricular to our church and our church programs, but we are a liaison of the Laura Riding Jackson Foundation and vice versa, and we have done things together, and we're all after the same thing. We want you all to bring poetry into your lives. I also take this moment to introduce Pat Draper, who is our poet laureate. And it wasn't my right to select her and say, I want her, because I was a poet laureate, but she was who I wanted, and it happened that way anyway. So that was a wonderful thing. She's been in our community since 1978. She's a semi-retired nurse practitioner. They only let her semi-retire, I think. And she joined a local writing group at our Laura Riding Jackson Foundation. What year was that? Oh, 2018? In 2018, the Porch Poets. And so you see, we're connected, that literary foundation and this faith organization. And she is now a member of our Fine Arts and Music Board. So it wasn't hard to talk her into it either. She has some publications, and guess what? She's helped to produce a brand new publication that came out, and we debuted it at our Writing Center Friday night. And she's a contributor to this, and she helped to produce it. And it's an ekphrastic. It's called Art Poetica. And this is available at our Writing Center. And I just want you to know about this. I'll have it at my side as well. I'm actually in as an artist. And also that little girl over there, Sharon Sexton, is in as well. This is like Old Home Week, isn't it? Do you think we should have a music program, or should we just... And so, Pat recently got an MFA in creative writing, something that I'm envious of. being an uncredentialed writer, and actually I don't know how to do a damn thing, you know. Not legitimately, but she studied at Queens College in Charlotte, low residency masters, and spent time on the road driving up there, and also doing it through correspondence. Her third book of poetry, a hybrid memoir, is due out this year, titled Nana Pat Has Something to Say. Her first two books, A Tao of Hibiscus and a chapbook, After Pyre, which is, it's a story that just, I can barely speak. But anyway, I want you to come up, Pat. I'm going to stop telling them about you and let you start telling them things. In case you don't know this guy, that's Andrew Galuska. He just dropped by.
Thank you, Sean, for that introduction, and thank you all for being here. Oh my goodness. It's so wonderful to see people come out for poetry and music. I do appreciate it, and it's so wonderful to see familiar faces from my other life as well as my church life and my writing life. And this is so meaningful to me because Community Church has been my church home for over 30 years. So to be a part of this, it's just come full circle. Thanks again, Sean. Lent demands authenticity, does it not? I think more so than any other time of the year. We don't appreciate the magnificence of the resurrection and Easter without the sobriety of Lent. My first poem is written for the title of my book, The Tao of Hibiscus. And let's just take this to the meaning for a moment. The Tao, as we all remember, takes us to Eastern philosophy and the essence of being. Some sources say that the Tao is indefinable. Some sources say that it's the yin and the yang, the balance of life. So remember the Tao as being the essence of life. The Tao of Hibiscus can teach many things. Capture now this tropic's bloom. Understand what's seen. Dawn breaks in shades of coral, hued a bas-relief. Sunrise lifting night's dark hold. Morning's light, a feast. Wood storks soar up in the sky, freed from gangly walks. By canal banks, shoulders roads, no more do they stalk, but fly above on wings so wide. Florida vista seen, moments of an heirloom, Tao meant for you and me. This next poem is written for a dear friend who's no longer with us. An offering. We never discussed politics in depth. Voices raised. We tried in vain to correct the right in each other's, to right the wrong in each other's beliefs. So we talked pies instead. Homemade versus store-bought, pecan, peach, apple, or blueberry, the merits of a la mode, instead of heated or to hell with it both. A scoop of vanilla ice cream on top of steaming pecan pie could solve most of the world's problems. I didn't know what else to do when I heard, so I cooked, stirring slices of seasoned baby portobellos with chopped Spanish onion to braise in brown butter. The chunks of brie melt and hold it together better than I could once the roux and stock make soup. The immersion blender finishes, followed by a splash of cream, a dash of sherry. The mushroom bisque is ready, earthy and satisfying, even in hospice. Bon appetit, Bob. And this next one is for another dear friend, Lady of the Pan Dance. Alone, she peers through the curtain in the dark. Only the half-breed wolfhound Max, who barks at water, stands by. His growls mean coyotes. She sees the occasional yellow eye. "Damn you, Bob," she mutters, reaching for a pan. Opening the door, she clangs the lid as hard as she can. She yells, yips, and hoots, finding fury like the prairie woman she's become, a pioneer widowed without permission. Those coyotes don't know what happened. All they know is hunger, that gnawing in the belly that pushes them to the scent of the herd, the ball of the calves. Now she's dancing with a frenzy, her own tornado alley, stomping a lid, a pan, noisemakers in a melody of madness to chase the wild away, to chase the world away, while Max, the half-breed wolfhound, barks at water. This next poem is a list poem, a list for Lent. What if we ask different questions? What if we get unexpected answers? What if we felt more awe than angst? What if we celebrate rather than criticize? What if we embrace wonder rather than worry? What if we ask of ourselves before each other? What if we focus when we listen instead of waiting to talk? What if we put down our phones? What if we turn off the television? What if we believe that we truly have enough? What if we said magnificent instead of maybe? What if we were grateful rather than greedy? What if we accept our divinity rather than dread impending doom? What if it really is as simple as this? This next poem is featured in the chapbook after Pyre. It was first read at International Women's Day 4 years ago. The Kung Fu Nuns of Kathmandu. And this is a COVID poem. It'll help you understand the first sentence. I'm taking the Santa Claus napkins to Saturday's picnic, mid-July. Who's to say we'll get this time in December? Let's pull the sky over us through Michelangelo's clouds and sit back for a lazy Susan Sunday, complete with blueberry pancakes and giggles from granddaughters. I'll show them the Kung Fu Nuns of Kathmandu, where every jigme takes the stage, fearless ones with the swords, slashing misconceptions like devil dragons all around. Why do we think nuns can't do this? Don't let me be invisible any longer, dismissed when retirement plans slip out or mask ties tug on hearing aids. Por Dios. May the magic of the Kung Fu nuns of Kathmandu take me, sword and all, to my own nirvana. And what I'll say next time when I'm asked what I'm doing, I'll chuckle, murmuring under my breath about skinny dipping after dark while I wash blueberries and fold napkins. Now that's true jigme music. And the Kung Fu nuns of Kathmandu are a real thing. Look it up when you go home. This next poem is, again, it's in the chapbook after Pyre, and it also placed second in the COVID competition from the Laura Writing Jackson Foundation. Man, it just seems like COVID was so long ago, and at the same time, it seems like it was yesterday when we were panicking, when we didn't know which end was up. My daughter was overseas at the time, working in the embassy in Baghdad, and I just tried not to think about it because her brother, a Marine officer, was also in Syria, and they just chose not to say anything to Mom because, you know, Mom, she's just going to freak out. But that's another poem. So this one was about my daughter coming home. A time like this. I never want to forget those 26 hours you last came home. The soft knock on my bedroom door at 5 in the morning, jumping on my bed, sprawled across the foot, telling stories of Baghdad and beyond as I sipped coffee. The clock stood still. Social distancing be damned. You're my sugar bear, my youngest. Even at 32, these hugs can't wait another 3 months until I see you again. I'll always take my chances with you as we climb into the rental Mustang, revving the engine, ready for a spin. last COVID poem, I promise. This is from 2021. And as we struggle with our own humanity this Lent, this is another slice of humanity with a little help from T.S. Eliot, titled, I Believe. I believe in now, 2021, not tomorrow's maybe, but this very moment. I believe that coffee in bed is the only civilized way to start the day. I'll write that book with a chapter about the camel beauty contests in the Middle East. Bedouins, believe it or not, better than Ripley's. I want to go where the women speak of Michelangelo, not a wasteland, but the Mercury's rising. I believe in the sweat-satisfying purge of endurance exercise, where all you can do is breathe and keep running or pedaling, grateful to be alive, to be able to do this one more minute, one more hour, one more day. I don't know all the answers, but what matters most are the questions. I believe the evening news is our Golgotha, pre-programmed by the sponsors, clamoring for ratings, redefining obscenity. I'll walk the dog and howl at what she sniffs and giggle when the neighbors stare. I believe in long, tender kisses with you, Tom, snowflakes in Florida, and forever, I believe. on a Sunday in Manhattan. I went to church with my cousin and heard Gregorian chants echoing in the stillness of cathedral hollows, voices canting worship on the second Sunday of Lent. Stained glass reflections of people praying while ancient scriptures read. I went to church with my cousin on a rain-soaked February morning and felt the spirit of the ages among the pillared columns. Whiffs of incense surrounded priestly vestments, words of wisdom imparted from the pulpit. I went to Mass with my cousin amidst the Jesuits and parishioners, Protestant musings muted as I felt a longing fulfilled. Questions answered I never thought to ask. I went to Mass with my cousin and niece and nephew, feeling the God I worship, even present on Park Avenue, leading the way as always. Hallelujah. This next poem is like an old friend. I first wrote it 40 years ago, revised it a little for the Tao of Hibiscus, and then I had to revise it again. You know, as a writer, you see something and you just want to fix it, clean it up a little bit. Anyway, this is a Goldie oldie, Dawn Runner. Picture the pale peach of a morning sky. Crescent moon highlights the morning horizon. Jogging down the road, I time my breathing in sync. Pavement pounding my feet, comforted by the rhythm of repeat. Eyes ahead, I try to focus, intent purely on routine. Chasing shadows is much more familiar than chasing dreams. Then I feel it. Pace quickens, lungs expanding, that glorious feeling of near flying. Now I'm following the moon, running for my life, following the moon to my heart's content in escape to the sanctuary of silence, broken only by the cries of the whippoorwills. This next one is an example of a haibun. It was first brought into being by the Japanese in the 17th century. It's a 2-for-1. It's a prose poem or a form poem which ends with a haiku. And this is the first haibun I'll be reading. Into the air, almost out of anywhere, they appear into the air of the order Odonata. Dragonflies, symbols of living change, iridescent moments powered by diaphanous wings, flying in 6 different directions, up to 60 miles an hour, watching the world of everything in 360 degrees. Start life as a nymph, live for weeks with magic wings. Whimsy darts at grace. And I forgot to mention that poem is featured in Art Poetica that Sean mentioned. It's next to a collage piece of art by Derek Gores, excuse me. Okay. Now this next poem is a bit autobiographical. In the province of poetry. Blood, like brethren, flows and heaves, pours into walls that pulse and squeeze. Memories murmur in the maze. Words whittle, ancient meanings haze in this labyrinth of chambers. Cardiacus, oh my heart, your blood once blackened like the start. By sins confessed, what did you think, that you were different from the rest? My claim to write, a need to tell, I do remember oh so well. As a child, not quite carefree, but cradled by life. Isn't that poetry? Turn away from doubt and grief. Embrace the slowing of the pace. Put pen to paper every day. Speak your truth. Seed the space. Night's tortured truth and dawn will be in the province of poetry. Recess. How many remember recess? The night blooming Sirius punched me with wonder. How I'd forgotten in the bluff of my days, blooms from the cactus helped me remember. This whiskered scout of the night on parade. Let's go watch the sunrise over the ocean. Sip coffee beachside, the papers can wait. We'll bow to the grace of the night blooming Sirius, white blossoms that beckoned and then told us, go play. Okay, this last one is dedicated to all of us who have lost someone way too early. Reflections from a patchworked faith. It's not about the glass being half full or half empty. Who gave you the glass in the first place? It's not about surrender or even letting go. It's about letting be, open to what God wants. I can do that today. A milestone journey that begins on my knees. Lessons from loss lead to wilderness remembered. Then I see the cross. Thank you all for coming. Oh, my.
My goodness, you did beautifully. Thank you. I hope you liked some of my fireflies and great fun.
I love the Chinese accent. That was perfect. Please, Sean.
I don't know about you, that was just what I needed. Isn't it wonderful? It's so lovely. So grateful that you all came. Next week we're in the chapel. Lola Haskins, there's a little change in what we have in our catalog. And it will be with Andrew. And I will be the following week back in here. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate. We have a free will offering plate in the back. We need your help in funding this program. We've never asked for that before, but 'tis the season. These are those days. And Pat, thank you so much. It was just lovely. Thank you.